If you're following Depp and Heard, you might know to this day, news is still coming out. This here is from September 1st, 2023. It's from page 6, and it says Amber Heard hobbles with crutches in Madrid after nasty injury from training for New York City Marathon. I'm not exactly sure if Amber was training for a marathon. You could see right there, if you look closely, her hand is actually a little bit red. So I'm not quite sure how you train for a running marathon and your hand gets red like that, but I've never trained for a marathon. So once again, what do I know? An upbeat Amber Heard was spotted hobbling back to her new home in Madrid using crutches. In photos obtained exclusively by Page 6, the actress can be seen smiling and interacting with local paps while out with her sister, Whitney, who was pushing Heard's sleeping 2-year-old daughter. Okay, those are the basic facts. The Aquaman star 37 told the inquiring phototogs that she had hurt her hip while training for the annual New York City Marathon, which is set to take place in early November. So she was planning on flying from Madrid to the New York City Marathon? I mean, think about it. If she did, that would get quite a bit of media attention. There'd be pictures all over, people following her. Would she even want to do that? Has Amber mentioned being athletic and going to marathons and things? I'm asking seriously on that. I don't exactly know. Maybe. I don't recall her hobbies or anything being going to marathons. Despite her injury, which has forced the blonde beauty to take a break from her vigorous running schedule, she was in great spirits. She gushed over how excited she is to have reprised her role of Mera in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdoms, set to hit theaters in December, because that's what I've been saying. It's the last thing she's got, and she's going to milk it for all it's worth. And she's hoping, like Warner Bros., that if it does do really good, it's going to help smooth things over for her. Because the bottom line is, if the movie brings in a lot of money, the lesson they learn is, well, I guess if she's in future movies, people will see them and they'll bring in money and it doesn't matter. Plenty more on that to come, so I digress. And here's her smiling. One other thing is, traditionally, when you've seen Amber in on it with the paparazzi, she's been smiling. She's been happy, this and that. When it seemed authentic and she wasn't in on it with them, she wasn't waiting for them, then she had a little pus on, like she was sad, or she had a glass of alcohol in her hand, she didn't want people to see, or something like that. But when she calls them because a little certain something happened with crutches, well, she's all happy. Aquaman 2, I hurt myself. Ha 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 ha. Again, just my silly little guess. They said she was stoked Australian prosecutors recently dropped a potential criminal case against her. Not sure how they knew that, they don't quote her, but alright, I'm sure she's not upset about it. They mention her fashion choices in some detail, what she was wearing, and that kind of thing, so we're skipping that. And there's another picture. They've got quite a few, by the way, mostly similar to this. Which brings me to X, formerly known as Twitter, and some Johnny fans and the like are speculating about what this is. So Beatrix Kiddo here, who's still on the case quite a bit, says when Amber swatted a fly, she had a brace on her right arm, injured hip training, and now a brace on her left arm. But when Amber was allegedly whacked with heavy rings, black eyes, split lip, broken nose, bruised ribs, bruised forearms, but she looked fine. So I guess what Beatrix is saying is, when an injury happens to her that wouldn't cause her to look bad, she looks terrible and she's limping around. I guess this is all in character. And she shows a past picture of Amber with the wristband. And jump to the current day, and here we have it. Like I said, her hands look pretty red there for a hip injury. And here's someone who says something about Amber. It's a clip out, not a solid source, grain of salt, but they say, I met Amber Heard in a cafe of a hotel in Sicily, and when she reaches to shake hands, the icebreaker becomes the tan orthopedic brace cradling that wrist. I wish I had a better story, but I was swatting a fly, Though, in my opinion, it was a mosquito, which makes it extra annoying, and I missed and I tripped over my daughter's little stepping stool and I caught myself with my wrist. I have tendonitis in the same wrist, and while my usual sound medical approach is to ignore it and hope it goes away, that wasn't an option because it would just linger. Okay, so that's what she said about the fly swatting incident. Swats a fly, real bad shape. Hurts her hip, and her hands red and everything's in bad shape on her wrist. Allegedly, Johnny does stuff to her. Eh, nothing. She's fine. The next day, the real Laura B pitched in and said, as usual, she can't keep her BS straight. Granny says they're the old look at me photos, I'm injured. And some people are saying she's copying Johnny's style, because as you could see, Johnny had this cane recently, this crutch recently. Maybe it was a cane, you know what I mean? Anyway, she's done that in the past too. So that's the speculation. Let me know what you think in the comments. Aquaman's getting close. I'm sure some news is going to come out soon. Dan is kind of MIA right now. Waiting for more on him. We should have some according to the Byline Times. As they said, they're not giving up. But been a while. Anyway, if you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.